And what did your parents think when you actually told them you wanted to go into comedy?
Well, I haven't told them yet.
But I'm the biggest cat in town.
But Scott Thompson, a.k.a. Carrot Top, legal name Carrot Top.
No one's called me Scott Thompson
Legal
in
name.
years, literally. It's like in court last time they said, Scott Thompson, please rise.
What were you doing in court?
No, I was kidding.
You were
Thank
a
goodness.
defense attorney by
Yes.
day.
I worked in a law firm when I was a kid. Actually.
You ran papers, right? Didn't you deliver?
Yeah, I delivered.
Yeah,
I
one of your
delivered
jobs.
credit reports. I did, and I worked for a law firm, and I delivered bread for.
On a
crazy.
bike at the Paris
Not
Las
on a
Vegas.
bike. No, yeah. Who was it? There was some comic did a great joke. He was on a treadmill at the gym, and he's pretending he was throwing paper around. I forgot who it was, but funny joke. First of all, I love PodKats.
PodKats, you know.
No, seriously, what? I'm like, I got to do this. We
got to do podcasts. We know about podcasts. It's all the name and the theme song. That's pretty much the whole show.
Yeah,
Frankie
okay.
Moreno did.
Oh, did Frankie?
theme
I
song.
just talked to Frank that day.
Yeah, the
It's-
biggest cat in town.
Yeah, I love
That's
Frankie.
about it. And I just
love
kind of
Frankie.
roll in here and hang out for a while. And I was going through my research about you today. You know how long we've known each other?
Romantically or
The whole time.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it romantic.
not
but anyway.
romantically? We fought a lot.
Do you know when we met? The first interview. How long ago that was?
Oh man, I don't know.
This stunned me.
20
years ago.
ago.
Yeah, it was 1999
MGM.
at the Hollywood Theater.
Hollywood Theater, where David Copperfield maybe disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went to the newspaper and they said, "Why did you leave the MGM Grand?" And I said, "Because David Copperfield made me disappear." And they printed it, and then he called me and said, "What was that about?" And I said, "Well, I'm just making."
Did he really
You
call
did
you?
make, yeah. Oh no. Yeah, he called me.
Because I've had
What
him
was
on
that about?
twice already.
And
So I've had him on twice on podcasts already. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, he did call me and he says, "Why did you say that?" And I'm like, "Well, it was." One, just a joke, and two, you kind of did in a sense. I mean,
They named
David
the-
Copperfield, Carrot Top.
They named the theater after
David
him. It's
Copperfield,
kind of a
yeah,
message.
yeah. So kind of exactly.
That'll happen
That's
after
funny.
you were-
kind of after you name the theater after you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you probably
it's
get
like, I
booted
gotta
out.
find
But you know
another
what?
place to go.
I've been here 15, going on other something. So it's great.
Yeah, let's talk about this. You got 5 more years. It's
Yeah.
just been announced here at the Luxor at Atrium Showroom, Atrium Theater, whatever we call it.
yeah.
How's it feel? I mean, it's
It's one of those. It's actually it's very weird because as I think about it all the time. Like as a kid, you start you want to be a comic and you want to do this, and then all of a sudden you end up in Vegas, and then all of a sudden you end up doing it this many years in Vegas. And Vegas wasn't an easy thing for me in the beginning. It was hard. It was hard to kind of figure out. I don't know how to describe it. Was it the audience or just, I was young and I didn't really know how to do this broad show to this demographic. Like tonight, I just came off stage. I said, we had the most amazing demographic tonight. It was like front row was 17-year-old and his 80-year-old grandmother, and next to them was like, out there. It was all over the spectrum, and it was so much fun to watch everyone at different ages laugh at different or the same jokes.
your whole persona's been designed to appeal to
Drag queens, yes.
multi-dimensional drag queens,
nice.
all 8 to 80, that whole thing.
8 to 80.
It was designed to
It wasn't
be
designed
that,
that way. It just kind of happened that way.
right? Or it
Like-
happened that way. It does. The effect is that.
Yeah, but I never. I mean, I kind of, in a sense, planned it, but I did. It just kind of. I did. It was a weird. When I first started doing comedy, I of course did clubs, then I did colleges, and colleges got me into TV, and then TV. So the kids that would see me in like Notre Dame, they would say, "Oh, this Carrot Top performed at our school," and then their mom would say, "Oh, I just saw him on Regis and Kathy Lee." So it was in a weird kind of grassroots marketing kind of thing that went into national
You're
television.
a national name when you started at Luxor.
Yes.
When we talked in those days, you were coming off the AT&T commercials.
Right.
1-800-AT&T.
Some of my favorite days in my life. People hated those commercials, including myself, which is funny because it was my job. I had to do it. So one time I was in the mall. This is great. This little kid walked in. Tell Carrot Top whatever, and he's like, "I love your I love your phone commercials." And I said, "Oh no, tell him the other part." And he says, "You're a liar." And I said, "What's that?" He was like, 6-year-old boy. And I said, "I'm a liar. What do you mean?" He says, "You said dial down the center with 1-800 call, and the one's not in the center."
It's upper left.
I'm like, wow, that's how smart.
And that kid works on your
He now
creative
works now
team
for
today.
Carrot Top. He's not allowed to speak.
Your first, let's get back to the beginning, is reading a story that I wrote about 10 years ago about you. It was on the cover of the Las Vegas Weekly. And It had to do with how the one of the nuns at your school, at St. Mary's School,
St. Mary's, yeah.
yeah, gave you a bell to ring.
Isn't that weird? That story.
To close recess.
Yeah,
and
I
she
love
did
doing
this
that.
because she wanted to give you something to put you out and
I guess
give you a responsibility.
Weird? Isn't that weird?
Is that where it all
Where'd
started?
you hear that from? Because that's really weird.
That I believe this one came from your mother a long time ago.
Wow,
Donna, a long time ago.
Because that's kind of like when I was probably I was
Sister
Catholic
Benedict
school,
was her name.
Sister Benedict. And she said, "Here, you want to ring the bell to get the kids to come back." And that's the first time I really wanted to be in front of it, be a performer.
Yeah, you got up on a ledge.
Yeah, and a ding, 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 ding. Come on, kids, we got to go. And then, but seriously, that's one of the very first moments of you have to be in front of people and
got to use
entertaining.
the thing.
Yeah, it was a prop.
Yeah,
it was a prop.
And they responded to it,
and they did respond. Yeah. But I got whacked with a ruler a couple of times too. Yeah,
at St. Mary's. But you were described in those days as a kid who didn't grow fast.
Eclectic. Oh, is that what they did? They didn't grow fast. That's right.
Smaller kid. Eclectic.
I was skinny and had freckles and red hair, and I hated it. So yeah,
that was your formative years.
That was just yesterday. I hate it. I still hate it now. But yeah, now I can. Now it's green and purple and orange and whatever.
Right, but your performing instincts probably, I would think, were formed in those days. At your
you kind of wonder where it all came. You kind of wonder where it came from. I was in the band.
Wonder. Yeah.
Well, I do too. I was in the band. I played drums, and so that was another moment where you kind of look back and think where it all started from. So there had to have been some kind of thing that I wanted to perform, and of course, not being a comedian, but I do a thing in the show where I talk about watching George Carlin and some of the Jonathan Winters, and I would. Watch the Tonight Show when I was my mom would find me like, "What are you doing?" I'm watching Jim Stafford, Started in Snakes, and I wanted to,
right, the novelty songs,
and I want to take,
right,
and I want to be that. I want to be that guy, and that's the craziest thing now. And the most fun part is being able to tell the audience every night that story because it's real. So it's not like I'm dancing around goofy. I'm really getting one-on-one with the audience.
You met your hero.
Yeah.
George Carlin is a story, and it was when you had started performing, but early in your career.
Before
right?
And
how did that go?
It was great. I mean, I didn't know he knew me, so I was in the airport in Philadelphia, and we were literally walking to a gate, and I saw him, and I sat there for a while thinking, should I say hi? Do I not say hi? Do I not? What if it goes bad? And so I got the nerve, and I walked up and I introduced myself, and I said, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I watched every special, and you remind me of my father. And so and I'm also a comedian, and I'm doing clubs. And he said, Carrot Top. And I was just the weirdest moment ever, because your hero recognized he knows you, and we chatted for a bit. And then he said, that joke you do with the cup thing is really funny. That's really clever, man. And so I found it in my warehouse, and I told the cups and string, paper cups and string. Yeah, it was one of my first props that I was very proud of. Not only when Seinfeld, a couple other people at comics had commented on it that they thought it was funny, because we get picked on a lot as prop comics, and this was one of the first props that I did that I came up with that was kind of, in a sense, clever and smart, and these monologists liked it. And so he said, so anyway, it was a cup and string, and I had another cup that came up for call waiting. So it was 94, so it was a very current, who never updated the phone. So I made a whole thing in the show about it, and it was all true. And then I walked away, and then we became really good, close friends. I mean, Carlin was very... he was very cool, and somehow he liked me. I mean, it's weird. Like you think, Sam Kinison and all these comics that you wouldn't think like me would like me. Dice Clay, they like me. So I remember sitting.
Did Carlin see you here? At the
MGM.
Oh, okay.
And he was always took the time to talk to me, and always took the time to. I do a joke in the show where he gave me some great advice. He says, "Don't do props," but it's a stupid joke. But no, but he was a big influence in me, and it's a surreal moment as anyone, any profession that you're in, that you're sitting there having a one-on-one with your hero that you've studied. I mean, literally studied every move and try to learn timing, which you don't really learn. You either know it or don't know it, I don't think, but
Yeah, he was what was the guy,
Smart.
Spike Jones fan, and he went back to the Three Stooges.
Yeah, he was.
Carlin
He was brilliant.
Yeah,
he was
a student
brilliant.
of comedy.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every joke was written out with the commas, kind of thing. Where mine, I never. I just kind of go, and I never go back and listen to or watch a show again, which no one should. But
yeah, I was listening to him the other day. It's like a truck driver telling me about Jesus.
The weather guy. I mean,
yeah,
before his time. Before his time.
It was the truck driver who tells you about Jesus. I'll tell you about Jesus. I'll tell you about God. First of all, your God is all powerful.
Yeah.
So he goes through the whole stretch, and it's great. You brought up something that comes through this conversation, is that prop comics often are derided by those comics who don't do props.
Right.
I don't know if that's still an issue in your career now that you've been around.
I've gotten it so long. In a sense, I've gotten invited to the barbecue. In a sense, like they was shunned for so many years, and now they're like, okay, he's been doing it 40 years. So you kind of get that grace period in a sense. But there's always been that stigma with well, not even just variety, props and variety, and I always go back to vaudeville and go back to like the days when you had to do that. You had to sing and dance and I mean tap dance and juggle to do a show and
rope tricks,
everything.
Whatever you knew,
I mean, I knew I'd never would be that monologist. I never knew I would be George Carlin. I knew that. I always wanted to do my own thing, and so from day one, I always did my own thing. And got a lot of crap for it, which not as much now, but there's still that stigma. If you go back and watch, they keep airing all these stupid shows, so you're always going to be on the loop. But I used to say way back in the day, I'd say I thought it'd be the opposite because I'm doing something so original that they can't get mad at me because I'm not stealing. Because that was when I started doing comedy. It was always like, oh, you're doing other people's jokes.
Right.
That's the worst thing you can do is steal someone's act. So I used to think, oh, they're going to embrace me because I'm not coming close to doing it. No, I got strobe lights and I got Crime Watch signs that I stole, and the cup jokes, and I got things that are mine. But I think, of course, a little success always makes a little too. You get a little success, you get on TV, and comics would tell Jay Leno, why do you keep putting on Carrot Top? I'm a comic, and you don't put normal comics on. And Jay would always go, well, and I would always show up and do my thing. That's my best Jay Leno. It's crazy, wacky Carrot Top.
You had a stretch where you did jokes with Dick Cheney on the couch.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And you did jokes about him.
We're trying to find that footage now. To put into the classic, put in the classic trunk because I think the people are really we're trying to. We have that. The one that I can't find is Donald Trump. So I was on the Regis and Kathy Lee show. That's how old I am. It wasn't even Kelly, and it was Regis and Kathy Lee. It was in the 80s.
An upstart.
Yeah, what are you doing? So I was on, and Donald Trump was on the show with me. And I walked out and I said, "This is great to be on a show where I don't have the stupidest hair." And everybody laughed. And Donald Trump's like, he kept going, "Touch it," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Touch my hair." So I was touching it. And he said, "Tell everybody." And I said, "Tell you what? Tell them it's real." And I said, "I didn't say it wasn't real. I said it was goofy." I mean, so we had this went to commercial break, and he couldn't have been nicer. He's like, "So your dad worked at NASA, and you could Florida, went to FAU, and he did his homework." So we had a nice time. He was nice to me.
Your dad was a funny guy, wasn't he?
He was very funny.
Jokester.
He was the timing guy. He had to tell a joke. Hacky.
And what did your parents think when you actually told them you wanted to go into comedy?
Well, I haven't told them yet. No.
I know your mom was here the other night.
Yeah,
I think she got it.
Yeah, she got it. She's like, "What? I thought you were in law practice." No, you know what's funny? I remember the day, in fact, and it's not a joke. I remember saying to my father, I said, "Dad, I'm going." First, I went off to college, FAU, and I said, I came back from a break, and he said, I got this Volkswagen GTI, and it was way more money than I can afford. And I was in college, and I was working 3 jobs. My dad was like, "Where'd you get this car?" And I said, I bought it. And he's like, "Well, how do you afford this car?" I said, "Well, I can't afford it. Actually, I'm working 3 jobs and delivering bread and cleaning office buildings and delivering credit reports." And I said, "I'm also doing stand-up comedy on the side." And my dad literally says, "What is that?" I said, "Stand-up comedy." He says, "Stand-up comedy?" And I go, "Yeah, but I don't understand." I said, "Well, I'm a stand-up comic, and I can make like." He goes, "You're not funny." And I remember thinking, you know what, you're right, I'm not, but you got to come check out the show, because he was like, what?
So where were you performing at this time?
In like bars and strip clubs, and
You told me one time you performed at a La Quinta.
Oh yeah, like La Quinta, which is Spanish for behind Denny's.
Behind Denny's.
And strip club. The best one was a strip club. I remember that the guy said, go up and do thing, and people were waiting to see girls naked, and I come up and they're like, boo,
do
you
10
suck.
minutes at a strip
and
club.
I'm like, and everyone was, literally mad, and I kept saying, I want to see boobs too, okay, but they hired me, so if you guys are not, so I remember I came up with all these props. That's where the props came in and actually helped. I think I pulled out boobs. I said, look, my boobs. And they were like, okay, we'll let the kid go. I was young, so I was honest with them and said, then I started doing the kickstand and all the props that I do now, but it didn't necessarily help me. It was show and tell with liquor. So people were like, okay, we're letting you get away with more than most, because just telling a story like with a microphone. So my grandma was in the grocery store. Boo. So I said, hey, look, it's a ice tray with a level. So
you were
a focus more.
Marketing major.
I was.
Marketing degree. How does that factor into it?
Well, I do a joke in the show. I said I got a degree in marketing. Of course, you go right into comedy.
But you used it.
Well, no, I did, absolutely did. I thought of the thing with Oprah, where I actually talked about the whole thing where I came up with, I had a logo before I had an act, which is not a joke. So I'm in my dorm room and I'm drawing this logo. And my roommate says, what is that? And I said, it's my logo. And he says, I don't understand. Is it for your class? I said, no, it's a logo for when I become a comedian. He's like, when you become a comedian? I go, you're not a comedian. I said, no, but when I do, I have a logo. You don't have an act. I said, I know. But the most important part is that the logo's done. So that's the hard part's over. But I really did. I sat in my dorm room and drew a logo.
That logo's around still.
Oh, yeah. I have it framed somewhere. And I drew it with a Sharpie. And I had a look.
Silhouette of a Brock.
But in a sense, that was kind of where the marketing, I was thinking Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead, they all had this steal your face in the tongue. So I said, I got to have a thing. And I thought of Carrot Top.
Were there any other personas or images in contention at that time that you thought of? Because I know you knew Larry the Cable Guy. And
we were buddies. But he wasn't Larry the Cable Guy.
But I mean, there were other ideas out there in your radius. Did you ever think of anything other than the Carrot Top?
I should have. I went with Carrot Top. It's too late now.
Not that I'm dropping.
Not really. I could probably go back now and do something different, right? No, but Carrot Top just kind of stuck. And I told the guy bringing me up. He says, "What are you gonna bring me up as?" And I said, "Bring me up as Carrot Top." And he was like, "What's it?" I said, "Carrot Top." He's like, "Carrot Top?" I said, "Yeah." I don't get it. I said, "Carrot Top." So my opening gag was I came out with this big orange wig on, and they said, "Please welcome Carrot Top." And I came on stage with this big stupid orange clown wig, and everybody was like, "Huh?" And I pulled it off, and I said, "No, it's not funny now." And that was the big boom. They already liked me.
Had you ever performed under any other name than Carrot Top?
No.
All right.
Yeah, no. Because I thought of Scott Thompson, but Scott Thompson was taken by Kids in the Hall at the time.
Right, yeah.
So I said, I can't be Scott Thompson, and that sounds sucky anyhow.
For
so
him in some ways, and people have done searches and thought that you...
Right. I went to a read for a movie. I went to a movie read in L.A., and I drove there, and it took me 8 hours to get to this place in Hollywood. And I showed up, had my script, I knew the lines, and the lady says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here for the movie." And she's like, "I'm sorry. What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here to read for the movie, whatever." And she's like, "I don't think we have you on your thing." I said, "Yeah, you're on my list." She's like, "Scott Thompson." I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh no, I think," and I go, "Oh, Scott Thompson, Kids in the Hall." She goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." She goes, "No, I just drove 8 hours to get here." I'm not kidding. I'll never forget this.
Oh,
and she goes,
man.
"Well, thanks for coming." I said, "No, I'm fucking reading for it now. I drove 8 hours. I'm going to read for it, whether I get it or not." I came in, I read for it, and I go, "I know you're looking for the different Scott Thompson. You're looking for the like flamboyant gay Scott Thompson, but you're getting the other one."
Remember what movie it was?
Oh God, Jaws? No. Star Wars? Batman?
Jaws
I forget
3D.
the name. Yeah. No, I forget the name of the movie, but it was a silly movie. But I did read for Dumb and Dumber. And the thing that led about Dumb and Dumb, was I dumb or dumber? Right. So I get the script and I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. I'm not kidding.
So you read for one of the main characters?
I went for Jim Carrey's part.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm in Charleston, South Carolina doing a club, and they said they want you to read for this movie called Dumb and Dumber. And they sent me the script, and I said, this is the dumbest thing I've ever, literally, like ever. If you look at this, read the script.
If you read the script. There's a
the first line says, he says, the cops pull over. And the cop pulls you over, and he said, no, it's a cardigan. That's in the movie. And that was what I read for, right? And I'm thinking, this is the dumbest thing. I hope I don't get this part. It's so dumb. And then Jim Carrey plays it. So yeah.
That's an example, probably what you're talking about with delivery and timing, where you have to have
it was unreal. So he pulled it off.
A chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. It looks a lot different on paper than it does. Yeah. Well, you had the chairman of the, what was it, the chairman of the board?
What do you mean don't forget? You don't remember? Chairman of the
I don't remember. Chairman of the board.
Yeah, chairman of the board.
I did see this.
You didn't see it? Oh, you did see it or didn't see it?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I watched it again. I've seen it twice when it came out.
No one's seen it twice, you liar.
I've seen it 2 times. No sequel.
Even only I sat there
once. No sequel.
No, but you know what's funny? It was a great movie, actually, considering what it was and what it was for kids. Problem with that movie is they released it to an R rating. And it wasn't an R rating movie. It was for kids. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh God, there was no
reason
for that.
No, there was one shot where I'm kind of naked with like soap on me. But everyone in that movie was amazing, right? I mean, had Raquel Welch.
Yeah, it was an all-star
Jack
cast.
Warden.
People in their time, right? Warden was in it.
I mean, oh my God, it was Larry Miller. I mean, it was a great. The rest was Raquel Welch because I'm thinking, Mom, I'm in a movie with Raquel Welch. And she's, well, actually, she's in a movie with you because you're the star. And I said, right.
Good call, Mom.
But we had a scene together. It was great. Yeah. She's like, call me. Yeah, that was her line. Call me.
This is when you were.
And then I got done. They had cut, and I said, "Can I really call him this?" She goes, "That's a prop, idiot." I thought this really was her. I thought really was her number. I was going to call her. Damn it!
You should have tried. You should have kept it.
I should have.
Yeah. This is when you were starting to get recognized all the time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you're in a movie and
movies.
You got TV commercials.
Yeah.
And you've been recognizable for quite a while. How does this work into your life? I know you can't. I know it's hard for you to walk around in your regular life and not.
I'm in the lineup is what I always say. But you kind of forget sometimes though. I'll be going. I'm going to go into the subway and get a Subway, and I just forget. Oh yeah, you're an idiot. You walk in, you're like, and they're like, oh, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I forgot I looked like this. I forgot it was me.
I like when you get carded.
I was just gonna get. Yeah, I wish I got carded.
when you get like you have to use your credit card.
Oh, they did.
People they've done that. Photos with you,
they have done that.
Card.
It's like the old commercial with there was a Visa, right? The commercial they did that. It was and that actually happens. Mm-hmm. I love your work. I've seen your show like 20 times. Thanks. I need to see your ID with that. I'm like, are you crazy? I go, yeah. And my credit card says Carrot Top on it, so it's really funny. They're like, oh, that's weird.
Does it really say
Well, it's a company card, so it's Carrot Top.
Okay. Just inside the kids